Hi again. Last time we were talking on these three economists. Uh, well, I should mention that, as I told before, actually, Adam Smith was the major figure who laid foundations of modern economics. David Ricardo, however, he is kind of like a secondary figure, but also, uh, well, his work has been very important in um, laying some major theories, the major structure of economics. Especially, he has one of his contributions was making Adam Smith's theories more mathematical and expressing it in a more analytical sense. Uh, kind of Ricardo can be thought as the figure who has developed Adam Smith's framework further and strengthened it. And Malthus he was a contemporary of Ricardo, and he has made many discussions with him, and they were disagreeing with each other. Those discussions are very famous and very gentlemanly. Also, the language was very gentlemanly. Um, well, on one thing they agree, however, which is the way the wages in the economic system is regulated. And on that aspect, Malthus has done the major, developed major framework. Actually, in most basic sense, Adam Smith has created the framework on wages, but Malthus is the one who has developed it further, and at the time his framework was accepted as the the best framework, explaining how the wages are moving, increasing and decreasing, and what is on the way wages are returning always to the equilibrium point, and how this equilibrium point is kind of created. But also, the discussions of Malthus and Ricardo has created some, through those discussions, Malthus has created some theories, some, let's say, objections, which in his time were not valued maybe as much, but in time they had an important role in economics, including in Marxian school. We will see. Now. So, as I said before, the early economists were interested mainly in finding the basic rules that were regulating the society, as well the an economic system of the society. That is the market, how things are produced, for what price they are sold, how is the production level regulated, how, in which cases production level in a country is more likely to increase, and in which cases it is more likely to decrease. Actually, for today, the demand and supply model and the study of the basic markets of a single good, any good, it can be any good, anything that is bought and sold, basically, let me say. That is the main, that is considered as the most important aspect of Smith's and Ricardo's framework. And usually, after introducing the basic concepts of demand and supply model, this model is used to show, first, another framework which measures the total benefit the society gets from a market of a good through market surplus concept. So how much is this market benefiting, providing it's called surplus, so providing satisfaction for the members of the society. And then it is used to show that the regulations are basically any kind of regulation, any kind of intervention, including taxation, for example, will basically decrease this benefit level. Some decrease more, some decrease less, and so market is basically the main focus of market system is basically and markets in the economic system themselves basically is well, how much or in which cases basically they create the best outcome for the society, and measurement of this best outcome is of course made in a specific way defined or created by the neoclassical school, which we are not studying in this course. If you are interested, if you don't know, and if you are interested, you can ask to me, and I can provide you information. Although the basic understanding of the neoclassical school, maybe from the ultimate benefit market gives market provides to the society. Maybe that I might briefly summarize this in the next few weeks. Well, for the early economists, however, the most interesting phenomena was the extraordinary growth rates, especially the British economy and increasing also European economy was experiencing. Although that growth in the time of the early economists were relatively moderate compared with the late 19th century and 20th century growth rates, still for them it was a fascinating thing. And they were aiming to explain what is creating this growth rate and whether this growth rate will be permanent or temporary. I mean, will it ultimately stop? And they are pretty much pessimistic. We will see. They think it will stop. Marx might be the only economist who think actually there is a way to make this growth process continue. There might be a way, although even in current Marxian school, I mean, this is also discussed whether the growth rates might continue or will stop. Basically, Marx thinks they will stop in the capitalist system ultimately, but well, once the human society at that moment of history, the human society will be able to create a better economic system, which will actually continue, allow the growth process continue further. On the demand and supply model, the most important, most interesting thing for them was not the benefit the society gets from the markets, basically these particular markets, rather why certain values like rents, I mean, we will see in a minute, but basically they will find mostly the prices in the market are likely to converge to a certain value, which is called equilibrium price. So there's a price on which always the markets return. I mean, the economy brings the price always to that level. And what determines that particular price level, equilibrium price level? So, and beyond that, of course, what determines the wages, rents, and profit rate, those become the major interests of the early economists. So as for demand and supply model, this is a very basic model, and basically, if you have seen any economics course, you have seen this. If you have not seen any economics course, In that case, you can just write demand and supply model and find thousands of explanations of it, including videos of it. But very basically, according to Adam Smith, this logic can be applied to any market of at least goods and services. Actually, goods and services, basically. That are bought and sold, of course, which Marx will call later commodities. So this model is true for apples. This model is true for education. In that case, I mean, you might think education as a number of students who want to take a particular type of education, which might be college education or a course in cooking, for example, which can be healthcare, which can be anything, basically. The basic rules of this model will be true according to almost all economists. Just if you write you can find many of them. Let's open one of them. Let's open the image. Okay. So now you can see it. I can even maybe make it a little bit larger. So for any market, if at any particular price level, the amount, well, you have at any, first, the model defines demand and supply at every price level. Demand is the amount the buyers are willing to buy at that price level. And as price level goes down, the amount people are willing to buy increases. Supply is the amount the sellers are willing to sell at a price level. And according to the model, as price level decreases, the amount the sellers are willing to sell decreases. This goes down. So now you can see the graph of demand and supply. I mean, it shows the quantity demanded by buyers for each different price and quantity supplied by the sellers at each different price. And at certain price levels, the quantity supplied is larger than quantity demanded. If that's the case, since certain sellers are not able to sell what they brought to the market, they will decrease the price, but decreasing the price will increase the quantity demanded and decrease the quantity supplied. But as long as there is a surplus, basically, the sellers will continue to decrease the price up to the point when they are able to sell all they have brought to the market. So that price is the equilibrium price. On the other hand, if the price is too low and the quantity buyers want to buy is higher than quantity sellers want to sell, in that case, since there is more people who are willing to buy compared with the number of goods they have brought to the market, the sellers will increase the price. And as they increase the price, they will bring more goods to the market, and buyers will be willing to buy less, basically. But as long as there is shortage, the price will continue to increase up to the point when price is again equal to the equilibrium price. So in all markets, the market is automatically without any interventions, just as a result of the behavior of the buyers and sellers. Almost instinctive behavior of buyers and sellers, market is bringing the price to the equilibrium level. Of course, this model doesn't show us whether this equilibrium price is a agreeable or best possible outcome, whether at any point we can have a better outcome or not. On this, neoclassical schools talks further. It's also a static model. I mean, it doesn't show whether, as a result of change in demand and supply, we can get a better point. I mean, it keeps demand and supply stable within the model itself, at least.